Hey folks, welcome back to Street Rust. We're back on this truck, and I'm telling you, this may not be the last video, but it's going to be the next to last video before we have the same roadworthy. Roadworthy doesn't mean beautiful, it means roadworthy. Let me show you what we're gonna be working on. So about got the interior done. See, I got this dash cleaned up. Looks good enough for now. Good enough to haul a vehicle on a car trailer. I got some stuff taped off. I'm going to rebuild all of this blue stuff down here. We're going to get that taken care of. I got those little holes in the window trim there. I got those all gooped up. Got it gooped up there. Got it gooped up over here in the corner, right over there. So we'll get that done, and we'll pretty much be done with the interior. A little bit of wiring pertaining to the blower motor. A little simple stuff. Oh, here's the dash pad. Been kind of just poking around, seeing what we got. This has been covered before, obviously. That's what this is here. I think, you know what I think I'm going to do? I've tried foam before and it was yucky doo-doo. I got some Bondo up there. You can't really see it. It's on the shelf. I got some Bondo left. Flatten that out, cut it out a little bit, Bondo that, and then come back and cover this, because covering this wouldn't, you can see it's been covered. We'll have a couple folds at the end here, but I think that would suffice well. But once again, don't need that to haul a car. We need to get the radiator in. So I'm going to tell you about this wiring. I feel better about the wiring. Here's why. So I'm looking around in here. There's no voltage regulator anywhere. None whatsoever. I know it's kind of dark in here. Then I got out here the other night and I said, oh, let me trace those wires, and they split off here, and looky there. Can you see that? That's the voltage regulator. Makes me feel a lot better, because it was either rewiring the voltage regulator and put in, or get an alternator with an internal regulator. Didn't want to do that. These wires here, I'm going to get them all cleaned up and wrapped up so they're not sparking. Really the biggest thing, this starter solenoid here, the new one I have has two attachments. This one only has one. Let me well, I had it around here somewhere. I don't know where it went, but I got it here. Let me show you over here. Boy, it's a mess in here, folks. It is a mess in here. Okay, I want you to see what I'm talking about, because I've actually found wiring diagrams that have both. Okay, so let's just set this right up here. You see how this one has two prongs on it? 1 and 2. This one only has one. It's not broken off. It just, I found a wiring diagram with one, but here's the problem. This brown wire right there, it's supposed to clip there. It's supposed to go to the coil. So I need to go through that little bit of wiring just to find out how they've got the 12 volts going to the coil, and either leave that one and get a backup like that, because that thing's probably older than me or close to it, or go ahead and get a wiring, see if they got a hot lead going somewhere, go and get the wire back over here to the starter solenoid. So starter relay, starter solenoid, whatever you want to call it. All right, folks, let me get this camera set up, and right now we're going to work on rebuilding the interior with a rattle can. Be right back. All right, folks, try to get you in here, get you the best view. I'm just using, this is just Rust-Oleum paint and primer, satin, $5 or $6 a can. About the cheapest stuff you can find right now. So we're just gonna hit this. We're just gonna do it. I want this blue gone. So I'm not worried about the overspray on the black floor. Don't care about that. Wherever there's blue, I'm painting. those mud dauber nests, you just paint over those. Don't worry about that. So it's all good. It's all good. We're just rebuilding. All right, we're gonna stop there for now. I'll get this done, and then we're gonna jump up front, and we are going to start working on getting that engine bay cleaned up, getting it ready. All right, that's looking pretty black in there. We like that. All right, hey, I forgot to tell you, I did a little custom body work down here, and that's because it was all rusted through. I did some rust reformer, things of that nature. Remember, rat truck. We're gonna go ahead and rebuild this too a little bit. There you go. There you go. Just remember, 2 light coats. But if you do 2 light coats at one time, then you get done twice as fast. So there you go. Ha ha. As far as this, this may come later down the road, getting some more of this door seal. I've got some glue for the door seal. We'll glue that down. And where's the seal plate? Ah, there it is. And I've also got the, so here's the seal plate. Got that kind of shined up, looking like a diamond in a goat's behind right there. And then we got the seat belts that will bolt in there. Kind of got those cleaned up a little bit too. So, okay, let me get set up and we're gonna start working in the engine bay. All right, folks. Tell you what, I need to pressure wash this. There's just so much dirt in here. There's no way I'm gonna get all this. I mean, there's just dirt. I need to get this outside. I think it's gonna be warm enough tomorrow. We'll get this pressure washed. So gotta get that radiator in. Gotta get this thing on the road. Got a lot of things buttoned up here. You can see I got all the tape off. I got the glove box. I got that lock lubed up, cleaned it up. Don't have a glove box, but we have a kind of a glove box. Got the ashtray lubed up. I'm gonna wait to install this because we may have to put that temp gauge in there. I'm gonna wait to put the file bolts here in this. After we get it running, I want to make sure all the gauges are working. Got this, I forget what you call that, flashing right there, that door jamb. Got that in, got the seat belt in. I need a new seat belt. I'm gonna have to look around for one of those. But I'll do the other side, all of this stuff, when I pull it out of the garage. Not enough room over there. All right, folks, I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight. I know not a lot happened for you, but a lot happened for me. We'll get back on it tomorrow and make some more progress. See you in a second. All right, welcome back, folks. It is the next day. So I'm going to talk about the engine bay in a minute, but let's talk about the radiator. We're going to go ahead and get the radiator in. You saw the cost on this. I don't remember what it was. I think it was 150 bucks plus some change. We'll review that in the last video. Let me show you what's going on here. All right, so had to do a little redneck in there to make this fit. That's a 1.75 going the water pump to 1.5, but whether you look at a 360 or look at a 302, they're all like 1.5 inches. So I heated this up and kind of made it fit. As far as the transmission lines, I'll tighten these down. These are 3/8 by 24 thread. I'm just going to leave those in there just to keep junk out of the bottom, aesthetically. We got the fan blade painted. We got the shroud painted. I've also, had to do some fitting. The only thing I had to cut, if you look, let's see, if we're in there, this corner, you see this corner right here? I had to cut that off. And the reason I had to cut that off is because it was hitting on this body mount right here, right there. You can see that's the only adjustment that I had to make. The thing is, this shroud is too wide for this radiator. It's probably too wide for any radiator. So I've got it set up. Oh, I had it right the first time. Okay. I've got it set up where I've got some holes, and I've got the screws, the nuts and the bolts for all that. Like I said, I did all this kind of ahead of time. This is just adaptation. And then you can see it's a little wider here. It's not going to interfere with anything in the engine bay. And I've also got holes lined up here. This is broke, so I had to kind of go through there with the compression. I used a carriage bolt for that squeezes down in there. So all that's ready. Here's the bottom line of the engine bay. I did some cleaning over here. I did some cleaning over here. And you can see a lot of the dirt down there on the floor. This thing's got to be pressure washed. I'm just kind of peeing in the wind, if you know what I mean, by trying to get this cleaned up. And who knows, I might pressure wash it and like it better. But to get all this gunk off here, off the power steering pump, the steering column and all that, I'm going to have to soak this and pressure wash it. But I did get the wiring cleaned up. The sparkulating that was happening where it wasn't supposed to be happening, there were some wires that were rubbed, and then they were touching each other. I did some zip ties to get all this attached to this fender well. Same thing with the ground going to the starter. I got it all up and out of the way, so we look pretty good there. We've got heater hose. We've got the valve, which runs to the inside, which opens and closes. That'll just be mounting in line. We might be able to attach that line over here on the fender well. We'll look at that. Alternator's loose. I think that's about it. Got all this wiring cleaned up in here. Got everything together. You know, the weird thing, too, and it makes me think it might have been some electronic ignition stuff. There was an extra wire hanging off here. We talked about it in past videos. It's here somewhere. I promise it's here because I don't throw anything away. It had a plug on it. Oh, there it is right there. This one right here was tied up in here and just hanging down here. But they split it up here, and this orange wire is what's going to the coil. So there is no need to have two wires unless you have like electronic ignition to have two wires split off like that. So I just cut all this out and ran. So that cleaned up all the wiring. As far as the engine compartment, we still got some brakeolation stuff going here. And a matter of fact, I got to get these brakes. I got a leak. I got two leaks. One in the front on that new caliper system, up where the old line connects to the hose, and a little leak here. I can't get the brakes bled good. I'm not going to move this beast until we got at least some brakes, because right now it's nothing. And I'll need to get Gabriel in here this week to help me with that. So this will be probably the next to the last video on this truck. The next video we do will be pulling it out, and I got to do a lot of pressure washing underneath. I should have done that last summer, but this thing just set. Radiator hoses. I told you I had to make this one fit. This will go to the water pump. Once again, we've got 1.75 on the top. We've got 1.5 here on the outlet. And it looks like they've done the same thing. This one has been formed. It looks a little ganky, but you know what? It works, and we'll cut it where we need to. We'll cut it at this end if we need to move that back a little bit. So I think we got everything we need. Let me go ahead and get us set up, and we're going to get this radiator installed. The goal to wrap up this video is let's get the radiator in. Let's get the cooling system working. Let's see if we'll get the heater hooked back up. We know it worked before. And what else do we need to do? I can't remember if there was anything else, but interior looks pretty good, folks. Let y'all get another pop of that. I think we're near done there. I am going to do another video on this dash pad separately, but I think we're in pretty good shape there, with the exception of the hole for the brake. That's the clutch actually. I've got this little piece that I'm going to get cleaned up, and that I'll screw that in and get it painted. But other than that, I've plugged up holes, even some holes up here where these lights are. So brakes, after we get this done today, it'll be brake system, getting that shored up, and then pulled a bunch of wiring out. You can see some remnants hanging down there. We need to get some lights working in the back here. Gotta get this thing rocking. So without further ado, I will get us set up. We'll get this bad boy installed. All right, folks. So if you want to test your marriage, get out in the garage and do a video together. We move the camera around so they can tell you're behind it, darling.
Where is it?
Just move it around like this. No, like this, like a lollipop. There you go. Okay. All right. So Liz is out here with me. She was inside watching NASCAR, and I made her come out and help me. So
I'm
she
watching K-drama.
K-drama. They don't know what K-drama is, darling. Hot rods and K-drama. K-drama is Korean soap opera, folks, and believe me, it's not addictive for me. I guarantee that. Watching YouTube is addictive. So, all right, let's get started. I'm gonna grab this radiator. Hope that hose doesn't get in my way. So gotta back up, darling. I'm gonna grab this right here, and we're gonna get it in here.
Oh, it's a brand new.
Yeah, it is brand new. Unlike you and me.
Right. Aging gracefully.
We ain't brand new. I gotta get that hose down in there and get it out of the way. There we go. That'll work for now. Alright. Get that hose. This one doesn't set on anything, so you gotta kinda... Let me get it started. I got some nuts here. Okay, that's started. Throw a little WD-40 on those bolts just to loosen things up. That hose is good. And folks, the holes matched up, believe it or not. It was pretty amazing. So this radiator fit well. And there we go. Okay. Let's see if we can get this tightened up. Good night.
Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. You know, you say that when we're done, darling. Okay. Oh, come now. I'm gonna drop it. One's always got to be a little pain in the butt. There we go. All right. Let me get my. Whew, this is going in good with my hand. That means I won't have to tighten it up that much with the wrench. The goal, oh, you know, the other thing I forgot earlier, we want to see if the temp sensor's working, the temp gauge in the truck. If it's not, we're gonna have to rig up that water. I'm gonna grab a wrench. We're gonna have to rig up that the temp gauge, extra one we have. All right. Pretty exciting watching somebody install a radiator. That's what you don't see on them. Building a hot rod in 30 minutes from the scrapyard to the racetrack. Radiator just magically appears in the car. Well, this is the magic.
During the race.
No, they don't change it during the race. I guess if you had to. Okay, all right. That's tight enough. Okay, so installing a radiator is that simple. Of course, I had to do a little cutting on it, but it wasn't too bad. What do we need to do next? All right, next, you stay on here and let me grab the fan shroud. Show you what we gotta do here. All right, this is the fan shroud. The fan shroud, if you put the fan shroud on here, you could probably get to the bolts. They're gonna stick out that far. What a pain in the butt. So just put it on here like that. Then you get your fan blade. So doing it this way is just, I don't know if you want to call it a trick of the trade or the fact that I've learned my lesson the hard way many, many times. I bet that's not lined up. Let me get this lined up here. That doesn't look lined up. Hang on just a second. What I'm trying to do, because this pulley's just sitting on there. Until I get everything bolted down, then I'll tighten the alternator back up. What I'm doing, there we go, is getting that pulley lined up with the hole that this bolt needs to go into. So when I do this, I'm actually going to start that bolt first, just like that. Okay, that one started. Now I'm going to come in with a second one and get it started. That's to me, that's the easiest way. You don't want to be messing with this when you got the shroud over it. Then you're trying to work from behind it, and this is, I've always found to be the easiest way. All right. Let's get this tight.
Do this GoPro. You can't do zoom in.
You know what? We're not going to have GoPro Zoom
Do they have like
question time while we're videoing. Does that make sense?
No, I'm just making.
You don't touch any buttons.
I'm not
Remember that
touching
whole
it.
testing your marriage thing I talked about?
I said I can't see it if
Oh, just touch the
the
screen.
display. That's what I'm doing.
If it
It's
wasn't
like-
black. Okay, can we talk about this later?
Yeah.
Not while I'm videoing a Street Rust episode.
You can delete
Okay.
it. You can mute it. And then...
I'm gonna get the remote and meet you.
That's how he talks.
That's how I talk. Yeah. Yep.
Too
That's
much
right.
love.
I treat you so bad, darling.
I
Yeah.
know. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He's a sweet, not sweet.
I treat you so bad. You have
It's
to go,
loving.
you got to go to work every day and
I
work
don't
out.
like that light. It's shining too bright on
You
your
know
face
what?
when
Don't
it
worry.
doesn't.
You just a squirrel went by and you're gone. Okay. I'm gonna borrow some ADD medicine from somebody at work for you. Doggone squirrel went by and so you were gone.
Yeah. That's me.
All right. All right, we're getting there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get this fan shroud on, the fan blade, then the fan shroud, and I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. Okay, all right. And then, cause I don't want to keep boring you with this. I want that kind of tight there.
Fast forward it.
Fast forward.
I mean this.
I can't fast forward much more, darling. I'm 58 years old.
I'm gonna beat the clip.
Can we rewind?
Hope I can.
All right, hang on just a second because being that this is the last time I'm putting this on, I want to make sure that those 1/2-inch bolts are pretty secure. I'd prefer not to have a fan blade come off and penetrate a new radiator. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right, you stay right there. I'm gonna grab, well, I must have put them over here already. Let me get in here and I'm gonna put a couple of these in. I'll start, got some little 1/4-inch bolts here that I'm using. Oh, I remember what I did. Done forgot what I did. Okay, that goes in there. Let me get this started. Watched a good movie last night out here while I was working, darling. Dracula. It's from the 70s. It had, I think, Jack Palance as Dracula. Pretty good, pretty good. All right, we got that one. Now, let's get this other one. Chair. Oh, I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop it. Okay, I just put it on the top two just to demonstrate what we're doing. It's not going to move up and down now. I've got another bolt to go down here, but the key thing, why I had to size all this up and I basically had to put it together, is to make sure that the fan is not going to hit the shroud. And I've got good clearance. I've got at least 1 inch clearance everywhere. So there's no way that that's going to flex out and hit that. I say no way, watch. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I am going to, let's see, that's the small one. I may trim that up a little bit. I think I am going to trim that up just a little bit. I just don't like how that hose is, but it's the only hose I could find. It's not, this was the original one that was on it, which indicates to me it's the only one they could find. So I'm going to have to do a little trimming there. And then we've got the bottom one on. I'm going to go ahead and get this tightened down, get the radiator hoses on. I'm going to tighten up the alternator. Then we'll come back and talk about, that'll leave the heater hoses. We'll talk about getting those heater hoses set up. I may go ahead and throw it together too. Guys, this is pretty simple. You can do it. Just get in there and do it, okay? Make sure your battery is disconnected so you don't hurt yourself while you're doing this. My battery is totally out, so there's no danger. So, we'll be right back. All right, folks, we're back. It's already dark outside, getting cold. I think it was 51 degrees. That's cold for us. We had to head out to church, take care of some stuff tonight, and now we're back. Is there a killer dog in the garage?
Yeah.
Jasper, come here. Get a picture of the attack dog. Attack! Attack!
He just went away.
Run. That's why it's called Jasper the chicken dog. Okay, so I went ahead and got everything. I got the heater hoses in. I got the upper radiator hose on, and I've got that adjusted where it's not kinked too bad there. And then we got the lower radiator hose on down below. Also, this radiator hose runs awfully close to the power steering belt, and the old one had a little piece of, here you go, darling, had a little piece of metal on there with a clamp, so I went ahead and put that back on. So, get a shot in here, darling. Come over here. Look down in the hole. It's bone dry. I want everybody to see right here, in that hole. There you go. It's bone dry. We ain't put anything in it. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start filling it up. I got some, this is concentrate. So I actually need to put this, then some water. I usually buy the concentrate and just mix it 50-50 because it's a lot cheaper that way. All right, so basically I'm gonna pour all this concentrate in here. It should fill it up. I've got a tray underneath just to make sure nothing's dripping. Anything dripping? No? Okay. Just want to make sure you got everything sealed up. Anything leaking? No, looking good. Looking good so far. And I haven't started this vehicle since the last time we did it together on video. So I'm gonna need a lot more fluid. So let me go fill this up with water and we'll be right back. Alright, I don't want to overfill it, but look what them boys did. I can't even tell you. I've probably had this funnel for 20 years and they had to go and doggone melt it. Doggone boys. I'm making sure we ain't leaking. I don't see anything leaking under there. So I'm just gonna keep adding. Heck, I may have to go get more water. Nope, still ain't there. This is a 3-row. Nope. Oh, I hear it burping. That's good. Okay, so let's pause again. I'll go get more water. Take 3. Jug 3. Jug 3. Okay? Darling, it's hard to turn that GoPro on because it's got the mod on it. Okay? So you're using a button to turn on a button. That's why. Don't let it frustrate you. Shoot, you're married to me. Something little like that shouldn't frustrate you. Amen? Amen?
No comment.
No comment. I don't think you can plead the fifth of the marriage. Wow, how much does this take? I didn't read, I don't know what the fluid level is on this. I know it's a 3-row radiator, so it's probably... Okay, well that's pretty unconcentrated, and actually I can see the water level now. All right, so here's the hard part. Haven't started this since the last time we started it together, when we got it back together. So I haven't had a chance to tune it, the carb or anything. It's just on the backed out 2.5 screws and everything. I've put in the new brake pedal. Haven't had a chance to tune the dial here for the pedal to make sure it's set right. So I also, when I put in the starter solenoid, I plugged this wire up over here, the brown wire that was missing you saw earlier in the video. So this is going to be loud. It's going to be smoky.
It's leaking over there.
What's leaking? Oh, it sure is. Oh, no. Let me see that.
You can see from here.
I can already tell you. Can you see it underneath? Yeah, it's that, it, look, over where, darling? It's leaking under, it's leaking under, it's leaking, look under here.
Okay, and it's
Okay.
leaking on the ground.
You know what? That's why I'm the doggone mechanic. Come here, come here. Come over here. Come over here. You're looking where look at under there. That's where it's leaking.
Okay.
It's leaking under the thermostat housing.
You were looking for some leaks a while ago.
Darling, but it's all dripping down. You're not understanding what I'm saying.
I don't, because that's
okay, good. So it's leaking under the thermostat housing. So that thermostat housing is trash. I got to get a new one before we can do anything. So guess what I'm going to buy tomorrow? Thermostat housing and a new. I think I have a gasket. The good news is it shouldn't leak too much because we don't have it run through the block or anything. So I'm just going to leave it where it sits. I put this fancy chrome one on there and it's leak. I know exactly where it's leaking. I can see it. I'm going to have to go get a new thermostat housing. I'll get one tomorrow. So adios. Hasta la Winnebago. I'll see you tomorrow. It'll be a second for you.
Good night, Gracie.
No, it's not good night, Gracie, till we end the video. You remember the, if you want to have a challenge in your marriage, come out in the garage and work on something together? She's not smiling at me right now. Matter of fact, according to her eyebrows, I'm probably dying right now. Right, darling? You gonna plead the fifth again? All right, hey, we're back. So I went down to my local junkyard, which I AutoZone. They're the only ones that had the housing that had the plug in it. Okay, I'll talk about that in a second. The part number DL9021001. You got that? Get a good shot of that. Okay. I just looked up, like, I know this is a 71 block. I looked up a 71 Galaxy 302. So here's the culprit right here. I've already cleaned that, so I'll write that down. The culprit here, oh, you know, I can already tell. I might have a problem getting that on. Look at there. See how thick this one is and how thin that one is? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I didn't buy the Mr. Gasket one, because it said it had the 5/8 instead of the 3/4. Anyway, I don't think there's anything wrong with the housing here. Looks like that seal wasn't as good as I thought it was. I think it failed. Okay. And I didn't have enough goop. I just put a little bit of goop in there because it had that rubber seal. And here's another part of it right here. It's pretty brittle. So that's on me. Now, here is the OEM one, which has got some pitting and everything. I could have put a gasket and gooped it up and found a plug. $16.99 right here. And it has, if you look at the thickness of these two, they're the same. I believe it's 3/4 inch. So that hose should work. Okay? All right. What we'll do is we'll just throw those on the shelf for backup. So goop. Well, let's talk thermostat first. Okay. So when this goes on the car, hear them dogs barking out there? That just drives me insane. Okay? Okay? And we'll send Jasper out there to get them. Jasper, the German Shepherd killer. Okay, so this is how it goes on. You always want the spring, okay, to go into the engine. So before you put your gasket on, you set this in there, because on this setup, when you put your gasket on, it covers up that thermostat. You don't want to have the thermostat setting on top like that. Then you're just asking for a leak. Okay, this has got the recess here, and most of them have that, where you set the thermostat in there. Okay, all right. Okay, we're gonna pause for a minute because I'm gonna go talk to the doggies real quick. Okay.
Okay. Right.
Okay. I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk about the dogs. I'm tired of hearing those dogs. I love those dogs. They're great dogs, but sometimes they're out there just barking at the wind. And got them kind of where I just go out there and clap and tell them to go on, and they'll get away. So they're away for a little bit. All right, so what we're going to do real quick here, I I'm gonna go ahead and goop this up on one side, this side here, okay? All I'm doing, doesn't have to be a lot, I'm gonna spread this around.
The blue.
No, it's not blue, darling. It's red.
I said blue.
Is it blue? Is that your question?
Blue is.
Oh, glue! Oh, see how horrible I am, darling?
You're
I am horrible. Maybe I have a malfunctioning pituitary gland.
That's what your doctor said.
Huh?
That's what your doctor said.
Well, my doctor didn't say that.
Okay.
My doctor said, have you ever had a traumatic brain injury? And I said, according to my wife, I have. She didn't think that was very funny today, but I thought it was funny. Anyway, they'll get over it. Okay, so let me, let's see, gotta get that on right. Hopefully I got that on right. It can only go one way. All right, let me get the goop off here. It's goop, darling. That's what that's called. Goop. Yeah. It's not goop. That's what I call it. Okay.
It's just blue.
It's RTV gasket maker.
Oh.
Oh, I just did it the wrong way. All right. So I got it gooped on there, right? Got to line up the holes, see? All right, now, I don't want blue goop everywhere. I mean, like it's going to hurt this truck, but. All right, so now, see how I got the holes lined up, darling? That way when those bolts go through, they'll be good, okay? All right, now I'm gonna goop this up here. Goop, 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 okay? That's enough. It doesn't have to be. And you gotta let this dry for 24 hours. So that's all we're gonna do, folks, is we're gonna put this in and then we gotta wait another 24 hours. So it just, all there is to it. You move on to another project, you do something else. All right, now, if I lay that down, I'm gonna get goop everywhere, but that's all right. Stay right there, let me get rid of this. All right, so now, because the water pump is on, and we can't get a straight shot to that bolt, what we need to do is run this bottom one through kind of like this, right chair. Okay? We can get to the top one, okay, we just can't get to the, you can't get the bottom one in behind here when the water pump's on. So what we do, you know, I need to loosen that up, darling. I need to get that out of my way a little bit. I'm just undoing this hose that goes from the water pump to the thermostat housing is all I'm doing. Kind of get that out of the way. Now, we work this down in here at an angle. Well, bebop-a-lulu, what's going on here? Oh, I got it at the wrong. See how I got everything messed up now? All right, hand me that other bolt. It's right here. I got it. Thank you. Let me get this in here. This should be on the Mopar. It's straight up and down. You don't have to mess with all this. But it's not a bad design, I guess. It's just a pain in the butt sometimes. Now I got to make sure I'm in. All right, I gotta get this off my hands before I get it everywhere. Okay. All right, let's see if I'm even close. Did I got the gasket hole lined up? Yes. There we go. There we go. Come on now. I believe we're in. Okay, all right, now, my ratchet wrench won't work down in here either. So, this takes a while. Just Just do what you gotta do. My ratchet wrench will work up here, but I'm not messing with that. Okay, getting that one tight. So I don't want to run any water through here while this is still wet. Gotta let it dry 24 hours. Okay, that's about 40 foot-pounds. It should be 25 probably. All right, so we got that. And if I look down in there, you don't need to look. I see the top of the thermostat. The long pointy part should be pointing into the engine. I do want to get this goop off here. All right, there we go. All right, now let's get this little jumper hose on here. I'm probably gonna have to heat that. No, I think I got it. It's definitely bigger, no doubt about it. Come on, you can do it. You can probably see better from the top if you hold it on the top, darling. I gotta get that on better. There we go. Okay, that's on pretty dang good right there. It's not gonna go on any further, so I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, why don't you come over here to the other side, darling? There we go. Okay, so loosen this up. So this hose will work. If I had bought the Mr. Gasket one, which was black, and it was about $20, but if it was the only one I could have found, it would have worked. So that's good to know. All right, get that on there. Get her tightened up. There we go. All right, that's fairly tight. Now I want to come back down here and get this one tightened up. Make sure that's lined up good. I'll probably come back with a small ratchet. These are 5/16, and give these just one last snug when everything's dry. But we're gonna call that, okay? All right. All right. Now the radiator hose, which is not a 5/16, it's an old screw type, and there's no reason I can't recycle this. So I've got more hose clamps, but why keep wasting hose clamps? Stuff's expensive. Now you can see there's not much of a, see how tight that is there? Down in there? Okay. I want this to be as, there we go. All right, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So I say. So I say. Where'd I put my nut driver? No, not nut driver. Screwdriver. Okay, I gotta get that down in there now. There we go. It is a tight fit, folks, but it's been done for 50 years and it can still be done. Just takes a little patience. All right, there we go. Get that in a little more. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna tighten that up. Okay, that's everything. That is everything. I don't like that bend right there, but that's all we got. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and hook. This is the vacuum line for the vacuum advance. I took it off to get it out of the way. We'll put it back on so I don't forget. All right, that'll do it. I mean, it didn't take much to get that installed. We got a couple spare housings now. I would imagine on these, this looks to be a Mr. Gasket, and they sell those types of seals. I'll probably get another rubber seal for that, and because it's, well, that's not. If I put it over here, look over here, darling. That's pretty flat. Well, now it's moving. It's not. I think it's just the goop. It's flat. It'll work. Okay. Well, that'll do it for tonight. So we'll let this dry overnight. Then we'll get back out here. The fluid is still in here. It just when it got up to this level and the block and everything started coming out. So we'll let that dry overnight. We'll come back and fill this up, and we will get this thing started. So see y'all in a few seconds. All right, folks, welcome back. We've got the new thermostat housing put on. We've let it dry at least 24 hours. So what we're gonna do, take a shot in that hole, darling, so everybody can see. We're gonna finish filling that up. Okay, it's a little low still, so we're gonna finish filling that up. Come on back over here. There you go. All right. So let's go ahead and get this filled up. This is pre-mixed 50-50 that I did. And I got another gallon of water if we need it, but shouldn't take much more than this. Hear that? Nothing's leaking. The only leak we saw was here underneath on the thermostat housing. Let's just get this. Gotta let this run and get all the bubbles out and all the air pockets out. See if the heater core is working. The heater core was working and was not leaking. Didn't show signs of leaking last time we ran it. Oh, it's leaking again.
Yeah, it is leaking again.
How in the world is that even possible? Doggone it. Where's it leaking? Let me get
there.
I can see where it's leaking, darling.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
Leave it on for now. I want everybody to see my grief. Is there a hole in the intake? That's why I need to see where it's leaking from. Oh, God. All right, folks, we're gonna, once again, here we are again, brand new thermostat housing. I hope there's not a leak in the intake. If there's a leak in the intake, then we're gonna be, I just find it hard to believe there's a leak up there in the cast iron intake, but that would be a great excuse to put a 4-barrel intake and 4-barrel on this. But let us dig into this, and we'll be back. All right, folks, let's look in here, darling. So you can see where it's dripping off the bottom of the housing down here, right? You would make you think that there's possibly a leak in the intake, but there's not, because if I put, it's going to be hard to get a shot. If I put my finger down up under this, get zoomed in right through here. But the water's coming down my finger now, which means we have a problem in the sealant there. Now, I can tell you what I can tell you. I can still crank down on this 1/2-inch bolt. Okay? Okay. But the problem is if I keep cranking, I'm going to bust it off, then I got a broken off bolt in there. So, as much as it grieves me, I'm going to take it back apart, do it right. I don't remember if I tapped that hole or not, so I need to find out why that gap's not closing up. I need to go ahead and tap that hole run the bolt in there a couple times, seeing if it's bottoming out. Maybe they got the wrong bolt in there or something like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and tear it back apart. If I find a problem, get back with you. If not, we'll get it buttoned back up and get back with you as soon as we can. Be just a second for you. Alrighty folks, we're back. Alright, got everything apart again, and I want to get you in here where you can really see this. Okay, there are no obvious defects, and obviously if there was a hole in the manifold, there's still water in here. It would be leaking because the water has leaked down to this lip right here. And if I take a straight edge, I know this isn't perfectly straight, but there are just absolutely, you know, no big catches or burrs or anything like that. All right, so let's go over to the workbench here. Got a little NASCAR going on there. All right, so here's the original thermostat housing that was on it. This is just a thick piece. I think it's 1/4 inch metal, fairly flat surface. There's a little rock in there, but we all know that this isn't rocket science. I've changed 100 of these in my lifetime, thermostats, things of that nature. So here's the mixer gasket one we had, which has a little more significant play. You can kind of see that, right? So I could get that one was leaking, but if you had a big enough gasket in there, enough goop, ain't gonna be a problem. Here's the one we bought, and you can see it has just a teeny bit. So what I did, I took a file, and it had some casting edges on it, which were just little burrs, and I just went around this whole thing with that fine file and cleaned that up. So I think we're good there. And of course the thermostat, they call this part here is called the bridge. Actually, no, I apologize. This is the bridge, and this is the portion that will go into the engine, always sticking in there. And of course it has a seat, a lip, which I've got cleaned out. There's no obvious issues there. Then the gasket, which I order these, when I ordered these gaskets, I order packs of them, so I got 5 of them. No big deal with the gasket. It goes over that, and it goes over a little bit over this thermostat, so this goes in first. You goop it up, get the gasket in there, and then you slap it together. Okay, so I think we've got a clean surface here. I've ran a number of the original bolts and old bolts into these holes. There's nothing stripped out. It is clean, so I did tap those out previously before I put on the water pump and the intake and all that. So I'm able to get those in. They're seated. They're not stripping. Okay, so here's the old bolts. These are 1 1/8 bolts. You really can't go out in the market and buy a 1/8 bolt. You buy a 1 inch or 1 1/4. So instead of, this is a 1 1/8 with a washer, which we'll talk about this washer in just a second. I put 2 washers on here. If I put 2 washers on here, and it's kind of difficult to see from this angle, but if I put 2 washers on here, it's still a little difficult. I've got about the same amount of thread if I bring it up to that level, so I'm okay there. I'm not going to bottom out. I've threaded this in. Well, let's just do it. It doesn't matter which hole. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the suspect where the leak was down here. Let you all see this. Come on now. You can do it. I'm trying to do this with one hand, folks. There we go. There we go. Okay. So, if I take that one, send it home, and it's screwing in just fine. There's no big problems. And get my 1/2 inch. If I take this 1/2 inch and I tighten that down, then I pretty much know my distance. And I'll just show you the way I looked at it. I measured it with a pick, but then I came back and... All right, let me grab the pick. Where'd I put the pick? Oh, it's a screwdriver. I'll show you what I did here. I need to get those washers back out of the way where they're actually going to be, right? when this thing sets. Why is this being such a huckleberry? Come on now. There we go. Now, all right, right back there. Then, if I take, this is going to be that bottom edge. It's on a flat surface. There's obviously enough room in there for me to torque that down. I got plenty of room. So, I believe I've gone over the bases. Like I said, I've changed. I mean, I can guarantee I've had 100 thermostat housings off in my lifetime and never had this problem. I know from the previous video that we had this in correctly and we had the gasket. And what are the odds that I had the same exact problem with 2 thermostat housings? I get that this one's a little warped, right? Well, look at this bolt. I found this little piece laying down on top of the water pump. Is it possible that I really can't, you know, thermostat housings are not rocket science, okay? It's hard for me to believe that that broken off didn't allow it to compress enough, and maybe it was, I didn't see it, maybe it was on the bottom, right? And it caused enough gap in there. I don't know. So here's what I'm going to do. I've put more time and effort into this thermostat housing than I have ever put into a thermostat housing. So I'm gonna get this put back together. I'm not gonna make you go through the pain of washing it again. This will be the 3rd time. I'm gonna goop it up really good with some blue RTV, and then I'm gonna let it set for a couple hours just to firm up, and I'm gonna get some more water in here, and we'll try it again. So I'll be back in just a second. Alrighty, we're back. So, you guys saw what I was doing, and I got another wrench so I could get a good bite on this bolt. These things are tight. These things are only supposed to be like 15 to 22 pounds. I'm not gonna crank on them any harder and bust off a bolt. But here's what I did notice. If you guys can tell, see the teeth mark here of the hose clamp. I may have had that hose clamp up here. Now, and maybe it was leaking out the bottom. I don't know. I could get that I maybe did that once, but not twice. You know, ain't the smartest guy in the county, but I'm not the dumbest either. So, without further ado, I'm gonna put you up here on the stand, and we're gonna start doing it again. Filling her up. I got half of mine just to use straight water, but this is 50-50, so here we go. Hopefully y'all see that okay. We're gonna do it. We're gonna have to use some water in here because if you remember, I put a straight bottle of concentrated, so it's probably sitting down there in the bottom of the radiator in the block. Alright. Now I've got a gallon of water, and we're going to keep an eye on that. My gosh, it's leaking again. I'm going to lose my doggone mind. Where could it possibly be leaking from? I cannot believe this. Look, I'm going to get y'all in here. And let me get this this light turned on here so okay, you see in there where it's dripping? It's just like a sieve. Doggone. And I'm telling you, I got my hand up here underneath of this inlet hose, and there's nothing leaking. And there's nothing leaking under the main hose. There's nothing leaking under here. So where in the world and how in the world is that leaking? All right, back to the drawing board, folks. This will be the 4th time I took it off. So, live action. There ain't no line going on here. It's just pain in my buttocks. So, be back soon. All right, folks. I want to show you what I got here. I put, let me just show you what I got. There's water in here. Okay, I mean, it's definitely wet. Okay, and you can hear it You can see it moving in there. Okay, so I put the housing in with no thermostat. When I reach under here, 0, that's just a piece of glitter or something. There is 0 water under there. There is no problem with this housing. There's probably no problem with any of these housings. I can only speculate that as I'm putting it in, because the way you have to jimmy this in here, with the water pump being in there, that the thermostat, even though there's a gasket over here, because I did notice when I made contact with the intake, then I had to pull it away, the gasket pulled off. I am speculating that the thermostat, let me see here, that the thermostat, when I'm putting it in, if I don't keep everything tight, that thermostat's falling down. And of course, if that falls down, then there's no way I'm going to close up that gap. I found the old thermostat and did some measurements and everything. Everything is in order, not a problem. So there's probably nothing wrong with this housing. There's probably nothing wrong with that Mr. Gasket housing, other than it needs a new gasket. It seems to me that, and I put a clean gasket in here, it seems to me that the problem is probably that thermostat. So for the fourth, actually this will be the 5th time I'm taking it off, but for the 4th time I'll officially try to get it back together for you. Be back shortly. All right, take 5. Hopefully that was the issue. It's feeling pretty closed up under there. I'm just gonna pour water in it. Not gonna waste any more antifreeze. Let's see what we got. The radiator's filling up. I'm not seeing any leak. Nope. Keep going. See what we got. I'm mumbling, folks. Sorry. I'm so disgusted with this, and it's probably my own fault. Yeah, you got a little ways to go to get that full. Not too far, but let's see. You know what? I think that's going to do it. Just take a quick look here. Oh my gosh, what's dripping? That's not dripping. What? It's dripping. I can hear it dripping. All right, let me take a look under here. Okay, so first of all, this is not dripping. There's no water. There's no water coming from under there, so success. Okay. And I can't tell, there's a water drip under there. So I'm gonna take a look at that, so I'll be right back. All right, folks, I can't tell if it's water dripping down there or it's a leak somewhere else, but it's not a leak here. So, man, that was painful. Painful, painful, painful. You know, for you GM guys, for you Mopar guys, even like our Mopar, you know, having that thermostat housing on top is kind of a blessing. And I think the lesson learned here would be go ahead and put the thermostat and thermostat housing in. So bottom line right now, let's just get it cranked up and see what it does. Now this thing hadn't been started in quite a while. Okay, it's been sitting in the garage. So I'm going to give her a little help. The choke's not hooked up. So let's just see what we can get done here. It's going to be loud and it's going to be ugly. That's going to work. Let me charge the battery. All right, folks. You hear that dripping? So as I was charging the battery, I kept looking, and unfortunately, and let me grab a light here. Should have already had that. So it's late. Got church in the morning. kind of a little discouraged. Got to be honest with you. Okay. Can you see right here? Okay. I'm gonna put my finger in there. See that water dripping out of there? That water's dripping all the way down. So I have got a leak on the intake, water leak. How in the world could that have happened? So, nonetheless, we are done with this video. That intake's gonna have to come off, be yet another video. So this, you know, this is the way it is. There's just, I don't know how to say it. I have been up against the wall. I wanted to get this thing done like a week ago and get it done. The good news is we got the interior. The interior will look good sitting on the side of the road. So nonetheless, I appreciate y'all watching. Not giving up. Don't worry about that. Just a little disillusioned right now. I'm gonna pull that intake, see what the problem is. I got another steel intake, but I imagine it's the gasket. It's very difficult for a steel intake for something to go wrong unless it's been overheated and cracked or something. But nonetheless, thank y'all for watching. I know this video towards the end with the cooling system turned into kind of a disarray, but that's how it goes sometimes. So thanks for watching. Please take a second to subscribe. Like it if you like it. Feel free to share. Would love to hear your comments down below. So thank y'all and be blessed.